Hello and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Roberts, and in today's podcast, Daniel Green and I will be discussing news and performances from Monday and Tuesday night's game. But first, a word from No Halftime. No Halftime is an iTunes app that works like Tinder for fantasy sports. You can swipe left or right to select the one-on-one fantasy sports matchup that you like. Use promo code BBALL, that's BBALL, for a free $10 at sign up. Go check out No Halftime, where the fantasy sports season never takes a break. Daniel Green, my man, happy Super Tuesday.
Super Tuesday is here. I wonder which one of us will be the Donald Trump of the night and who will be the Marco Rubio.
That's a great question, and I don't know that I want to be either.
I know. I would throw in another one, but there's really no other options there might not be any options that are actually appealing. So, but good to be here, my friend.
Otherwise, how are you? How's it going?
I've been good, man. Today was it? I'm really into this politics, so I did all night long. I was watching games. I don't know if I told you this or not. So I have two TVs, like back to back.
What does that mean, back to back?
Like right next to each other.
Like side by side?
Yeah, side by side. Yeah, sorry.
Because back to back would be kind of hard to watch, I would think.
Unless you live in like a 3D type of universe. Yeah, I guess that would be hard. Yeah, so it's right side by side.
Side by side.
Normally I have two games, and I've just.
So do you have like two subscriptions, DirecTV or something like?
No, but it's really just for League Pass purposes. So I can watch two games at once, and then sometimes I have a third game on my computer. But tonight, one TV was devoted to politics, so it was weird only having one game on my screen, and the other one was all about Super Tuesday and politics. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. Cool. But still was watching some b-ball, my friend.
That's great.
Yes.
Any political thoughts you want to share?
I've learned many years ago, stay away from politics on any social media platform, any podcast, because I mean, yeah, you can't win. So right. Not really. Other than to say, it's just it's fascinating to watch how just different our country is in different parts of it, and how you can have two what look like sane people having just completely disagreeing on a variety of topics. It's pretty interesting, and then this one, for obvious reasons, has gotten some new components brought to it that are, I guess I'll just say interesting. I could say scary, but and that's it. What about you? Are you into this? Are you watching it though?
No, not really.
No,
I'm not into the politics the same way you are.
No, see, that's the thing. Though normally I am not, strictly because it just annoys me. So because like so much of what they're saying is they're full of crap, but for some reason I got pulled in onto this.
You got sucked into this one.
Yeah, and it started with one of the debates. Like I think one night nothing was on, so I watched one of the Republican debates, and it was, and it was so just comical, yet sad. And then from then on, I was kind of got hooked.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's
all right.
Let's get to basketball.
You're not going to say anything, so we might as well jump into basketball. This is the most important
week of the season before we get to our most of our teams get to our playoffs.
This is the most important week of the season until next week.
Exactly.
Is that the right way to say it?
Well, unless you didn't make the playoffs,
unless you don't make, then you can log out of the. Do you ever manage your team for the consolation brackets?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if for some reason I only make a consolation, or let's say I lose in the semis, and then I'm battling for third and fourth.
You're still pretending that you never miss the playoffs. Is that what's going on here?
No, all seriously, I haven't missed it often. But
no, I believe that, but
yeah, no. So I mean, the thing is, if I am in third place or consolation, like I'll just make sure I set my lineup. So I have I don't have anyone on the bench who should be has games that day, but I stopped looking at the waiver wire, and I don't play as hard or devote that much attention to it.
Sometimes people get frustrated. No, I don't even look at it. Once I'm out of the playoffs, I totally ignore it.
See, that sucks. Yeah, I hate people like you. But I mean, I do understand it. It's it is hard to get pumped up when you're like, what's the point?
I just can't care about I've got enough other things going on that
No, yeah, no, I hear you. But in the perfect world, though, you still want everyone to be competing. Otherwise, it's just, it's just.
No, I don't care. I don't care if people in the consolation bracket don't care.
I
Unless
know.
there's something on the line, like why how is the league any better if the people in the consolation bracket are trying or not trying?
I just for competitive balance. It's like
No.
you need things to stay how they were
What
all
does that
season.
even mean?
I
What do you
I
mean?
don't really know, except for if you have two people in a championship, like the waiver wire becomes an unsafe and an unfair playing field. If you have basically, everyone's given up except a couple people.
Well, the last thing I want to do is if I'm out of the playoff contention is have any sway on who wins the championship. So I'm not going to pick up players that one of the two teams that it's vying for a championship could have picked up.
I just remember one year. I don't know. This was a few years ago. Someone dropped. I think it was someone who didn't make the playoffs, like you, and then just I don't know if they thought they were being funny or whatever. They dropped Chris Paul.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Right.
You just take you
Right.
put your hands up and you're out. You don't
Right.
touch the console. You don't touch the computer anymore.
Right, but I'm in the finals, and my opponent had a higher waiver claim than me, so he got Chris Paul for the last week and a half of the finals. And the finals was 2 weeks, and then I ended up losing, of course, by like 4 assists. And
Your commissioner should have stepped in and fixed that. That's a bad league.
Yeah, so like that, it's little stuff like that can be annoying. So
yeah. That's why you just don't do anything in my opinion.
No, you know what? That's why, Mark. That's why you always make the playoffs, my friend. But
no question.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So here's what we're gonna do tonight or today, whenever you're listening to this. I'm going to share with you some of the news and performances of the last couple of days, and you are going to help me and the listeners decide whether that's something we need to pay attention to and either be on our radar, or if we need to make a roster move, or if you think it's more like fool's gold and we just need to ignore it and move on. Does that sound good?
Is fool's gold like a real thing?
Yeah, still? There's like fake gold that you can find that's not real gold.
So is that still like a real like thing?
I mean, are there a lot of people out there mining for real gold?
I don't know. You tell me.
I would think so, somewhere.
All right, keep going with the show. I'm gonna Google this.
I'm not sure.
As we walk on.
What's a more up to date term for that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Fool's Gold. There's a movie called Fool's Gold.
I'm not familiar with it.
Donald Sutherland. Me neither. Oh, wait. Have we talked about the Oscars since we've been on? Anything surprise you from that?
I didn't really pay attention.
How about when Spotlight won? So you've seen none of the movies, right? So
I've seen none of the movies. Once Inside Out wasn't nominated for Best Picture, I was out of the Oscars. I didn't care.
You should see Spotlight. You would like it.
Yeah,
it's a good.
I'm not sure that's true.
But I was surprised that won, but it was a good movie.
All right, you ready here? You ready to get started?
All right, talked about Fool's Gold. We got some Oscars, politics. All right, now we can give our listeners some basketball. Let's go.
Hopefully, if they're still listening. Ty Lawson was agreed to a buyout on Tuesday with the Houston Rockets. Is there anywhere in the league he could sign that you would be interested in picking him up? Or only if he performed well? Like, is there a team where we learn, Woj tells us tomorrow, like, Ty Lawson is signing with Team X, you'd be like, oh, we better go pick him up because if this could really work out.
If he got a starting job, man, I would probably pick him up.
But where would that be?
That's what that was like the second part of my conversation of what I was going to say. Like, I don't really envision that happening. So
I can't think of, like, I've been trying to brainstorm a team where he could go and start. I would have said maybe Utah because they had some interest in them, but I think they're okay with Shelvin Mack. As weird as it is to compare those guys, but
if you've been watching Shelvin Mack, who I think we're going to talk about in a little bit, he's not a point guard. Like, even though he put up like 18 points yesterday, 1 assist, like he's
just not. They need a point guard. I think they need a guy who can play defense, and I think they're happy with
right. And if that's what they want, then Mac Daddy's fine. So yeah.
If not Utah, I don't know who it would be.
Philly. Then again,
would he start over Ish Smith?
I mean, he should. I mean, but I feel he's not going to pick him up. Yeah, so look, unless he goes to a team that starts, which both of us agree is probably not likely, he can stay on the waiver wire where
Yeah.
he's been all year.
Now, if he has 2 or 3 good games after that, like he signs somewhere and is getting playing time, then you totally reassess, or even one good game. But I can't think of a team where I would just say he's cut and then he signs with a new team. You got to go pick him up.
The only
can't
teams
even imagine
the only teams where I could see him going and playing and starting are teams that stink. So why would they ever want to sign him? Like Brooklyn? Like he's better than Donald Sloan.
Actually,
oh come on!
I didn't think of Brooklyn. Well, think about it. Like, what if Brooklyn signed him? That's like the one place that kind of makes some sense.
Why? Just because the tanking doesn't matter because they don't have a draft pick?
Yeah, and like, what if they could get Ty Lawson to sign like a rest of the season and like a team option for next season, and then they just plug him in and start playing? He's better than any point guard they have. I take it back. If he signs with Brooklyn, I would pick him up if I could.
I would absolutely pick him up if he signs with Brooklyn. I just don't.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing why they don't want to do that. They just let Joe Johnson go. So
yeah, it would be only if they could get him to stick around for next season, I think. Quickly. I mean, Milwaukee, probably not. No, I don't see anybody else. But Brooklyn, I didn't think about Brooklyn. Brooklyn's the one team that it might be interesting. All right. Here's some performances from Monday night's game. Markieff Morris finally broke out in a big way. He played 37 minutes for the Washington Wizards. He scored 16 points, had 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. That's a heck of a performance, Daniel. Do you think that's a one-time thing, or do you think this is a sign of things to come for Markieff?
Dude, I think
he hasn't done this up to this point in Washington.
Yeah. I went against myself and I held on to Markieff, and I even started him in a playoff league last week. Now, luckily, I was doing well. My opponent had a couple injured players, so I knew I had a roster spot to play with. So I kept Markieff on that team, hoping this would happen, because as I've been saying on the show for weeks, it feels like months, maybe it's been years. Like, Jared Dudley is a nice gentleman. If you hear him give interviews, he's a great talker. He's not a very good basketball player, even though he's like 4th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage, shooting like 44% or something, which I don't understand how that's possible, because every time I watch, he misses every shot he takes. But he's like 400 pounds. He doesn't fit in that Washington Wizards up-tempo, play with a stretch 4, play with a really fast-paced type of game. And he's been getting over 30 minutes a night. Markieff is a much better player, a much better fit. You knew that at some point Markieff had to become the starter and get the minutes. It finally happened yesterday. The most important thing for me was the 37 minutes, and Jared Dudley got 12 minutes. That's what I'm talking about.
Were you at all that this came against
Philly? No.
Philadelphia?
No. If anything, it shows you that the game got close. So who did Randy Whitman play down the stretch? He played the guys he should play. He played Wall. He played Beal. He played Gortat, who got 40 minutes, which almost never happens. And he played Markieff. So, I love this. Markieff didn't even shoot that many times. Only shot 10 times. And they had a career high in rebounds, I think. But
that's like sort of the upset of the season so far, that he played 37 minutes and only put up 10 shots.
Yeah, so I expect those shots to rise as he gets more familiar with that offense, as he gets more familiar with playing with John Wall. He's a guy with some really nice upside. And if you can still snag him, a player with his talent, I really like that play coming down the stretch here.
All right, let's talk about another guy that in that same game that you probably could still pick up if you believe in his performance, and that's Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant he started in that game. That's the second straight game he's played over 35 minutes. He scored in double figures in both games. He's had at least 6 rebounds in both games, and he has had 3 steals and 7 blocks in those 2 games. So pretty good production from Jeremy Grant. Are you interested in picking this guy up, or do you think he's just a fill-in for Okafor?
Yeah, it's funny how he mentioned fool's gold a couple minutes ago, right? Because, this is a guy who epitomizes fool's gold. Look, if Jahlil Okafor is going to be out, like in DFS, you don't even look at Grant unless Okafor's out. Or Nerlens Noel, but it's typically Okafor. If Okafor is going to be out, then Grant becomes a nice play in DFS, and he's a guy who's relevant in season-long fantasy. So, but Okafor is only dealing with a bruised right shin. They're always super cautious with him because Philly, let's be cautious for no reason whatsoever. But Coach Brown said he expects Okafor to miss only, I think, one game or so. So, look, I think Okafor will be back, and that means I don't want Grant.
Now, here's the only thing I would add to that. I think that's mostly how I feel, but the difference with Grant that the reason you may want to pick him up, even though he's not playing big minutes if Okafor is back, is because he blocks a lot of shots. On the season, he's only played 26 minutes per game. He's averaging 1.6 blocks per game. So even if Okafor is back and you get into the point of the week where you need some block shots, you need 2 or 3 block shots, I think he's as good of a pickup as anybody. But I'm not picking him up hoping he's going to get double-digit points and 8 or 9 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really the defensive stats.
Yeah, especially in points. I mean, man, there's many games where he'll play over 30 minutes and he'll have like 4 to 6 points. So I'm not overly excited about him, but we've seen it all year, and even last year when Okafor or one of their starters gets injured, he can put up a good line every now and then. My favorite thing about Philly is I finally got excited because Nick Stauskas finally got benched, and they started Isaiah Cannon, which is probably a disaster as well. And then Nick Stauskas still played 31 minutes. God, I can't get rid of that guy. I hate Nick Stauskas.
Why is that?
I just think he's such a bad basketball player.
That's fair.
So, anyway.
All right, Daniel, before we get to our next performance, I want to mention our sponsors of the podcast today, SeatGeek. Daniel, when you've gone to buy tickets online, have you ever been frustrated?
I have, Mark.
That's because most sites make it too complicated to buy tickets online. They try to sneak in huge fees at checkouts. They make it confusing about which buttons you need to pick, which seats are the best, but not SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an easy-to-use app or website that you can go to. You can tell it exactly which sporting event or concert you want to go to. They'll show you all the different seats that are available from all the different seat sources online. So you don't need to check at a bunch of different websites. You can check just the one, and it gives you a score on each seat. So really, really high scores, closer to 100 are great seats. Seats with a score close to 0 are poor seats or relatively poor seats. They even color code it for you, Daniel. It could not be easier. So go check out SeatGeek. And if you download the app and use the promo code MARC, that's MARC, you will get a $20 rebate on your tickets. Pretty good deal.
It's an excellent deal, my friend.
Excellent deal. I'm still excited to hear about your Enrique Iglesias concert.
It's not for a few months, man. So
oh my goodness,
yeah, it's gonna take a while, but it's going to be legendary. I cannot wait. Like the people, man, the number of people who listen to the show and then want the because I got 2 tickets. So people who want to come with me, it's amazing, Mark. You should see.
There's people who are listening that want to go to the concert with you. Listeners,
friends, foes, you name it.
Some enemies, huh?
Yeah. You say Enrique. You talk about how someone that something we need someone on the Republican side to be a unifier, a uniter. If that's what Enrique is. Enrique is a uniter. He brings people together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back into the basketball talk here, Daniel. The next guy I wanted to run past you and see if you thought his performance was trustworthy or if it's just a one-game aberration is Shelvin Mack. Shelvin Mack on Monday night against Boston Celtics played 30 minutes. He had 18 points, 2 3-pointers, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1. Let me start over. He had 18 points, 2 3-pointers, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 assist. He shot 8 of 15 from the field. It's a pretty good performance from Mr. Shelvin Mack. Are you thinking this is more the type of production he's going to give us going forward? Or the previous game when he scored 4? Pulling it up right now. He had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yes, I mean the easiest way to say this is he's been in Utah for 5 games, and this is what he's done. Just points. Yeah. 18, 6, 8, 17, and 16. So I think that's exactly what you can expect the rest of the season. There's going to be games where he's going to give you, between that 16 and 18, there's going to be games where he's going to give you 6 to 8. So it's probably going to average out to be, 13, right around there.
Yeah.
Lucky.
So is that worth owning?
I mean, well, this is the thing though, and this is I think when we talked about this originally when we saw Utah was going to play him and start him. I mean, defensively, he looks like he's a good fit for them. But the problem is, look, Chicken Nugget's not really a point guard, so he doesn't get you assists. Like, the first game was an anomaly. He got 6 assists the first game he played for Utah, but since then it's been 2 assists, 3 assists, 2 assists, and 1 assist yesterday. And so played 30 minutes and 1 assist. And I think he's more of like a 2 to 3 assist guy, even if he's a quote unquote point guard for them. So if you're looking for assists, I don't think he's really an upgrade over a guy like Norris Cole or someone like that. So it's, to me, with the type of production he's going to be giving you, it's borderline at best. So I'm fine if you want to kind of take a flyer on him and hope he has games, more games like he had last night for points. But I'm not a big fan.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I think that's fair. I'm still kind of holding out hope that his per minute assist numbers will extrapolate a little bit better than what you're explaining, but I'm feeling less and less confident that will happen. And if that's not the case, then you're really just looking for those steals and the 3-pointers, which I think will be there, but that's, there's a lot of guys on the waiver wire that can do better in those 2 categories than Sheldon Mack.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, yesterday, the thing is he had a really good game, scoring wise against that Boston backcourt, and Boston defends the backcourt, really well. So that was impressive to see. But
he had some big shots for him down the stretch.
He did, but like I just don't see, like you said, I think you can stream guys and kind of get his production,
right,
other ways. So.
All right, let's move over to the Houston game. Donantes Montejunas, he's returned from injury. I believe this is his 2nd game back from injury. He played 19 minutes, had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 3-pointer. Obviously, not at this level of production would we be interested in owning Donantes, but does this at least make you interested in putting him on your watch list or paying attention to him because he is returning from injury?
Yeah, I mean, he's on my watch list just because we've seen in the past when he gets minutes, he can put up some really solid production, and the fact that Houston plays at such a fast pace. If anyone on that Houston team is getting, 25 to 30 minutes, they're going to probably become relevant in the fantasy realm. Like you said, it's a little too early to tell here. I mean, how many games is it going to take, before they ramp up his minutes? I'm not sure. I mean, the thing is, right now they're starting Josh Smith at the 4 or I guess they're starting Josh Smith at the 3 or the 4. I guess him and Ariza can both go back and forth at the 3-4 spot. So, would he could he eventually move into the starting lineup instead of Josh Smith? Maybe, because Josh Smith went back to being basically Josh Smith in the last week or so. If you've been watching them play, and Houston they do need someone to really help them out, even if that's someone giving them really consistent minutes off the bench. Right now they had a horrible loss to Milwaukee yesterday, losing 128. They gave up 128 points. They scored 121, but still it was a horrible game. They really could use someone's production, and they could use someone to play some defense, quite honestly. But so look, if he starts getting minutes, he's a guy that I won't be shy in adding. But I'm not sure when that's going to come.
Yeah. Now on that Milwaukee side, we saw an interesting performance from Jerryd Bayless, who returned from injury. His production was boosted by the fact that Michael Carter-Williams was out with knee soreness. And Jerryd Bayless had missed some time with a knee injury as well, but he returned and he went right back into the into big minutes. He played 35 minutes. He had 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 5 3-pointers. And we saw a bit of surprising production from Bayless at the beginning of the season. He was pretty easily a top 100 player. He just dealt with some injuries since then. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about Bayless going forward?
So I don't know if you played DFS yesterday or not.
I did not.
But MCW, Michael Carter-Williams, all day long. No indication that he's suffering from anything. He's fine. Lineup lock, especially on a site like FanDuel, it's at 7 p.m. Eastern. Lineup lock comes and goes. Then at like 7:05 p.m., I think it was, or 7:04, 7:05, MCW's, they said he's ruled out, and then Bayless, is probably going to start. I don't know. I don't remember if OJ Mayo started and only played 12 minutes, or Bayless started.
Yeah, Bayless didn't start, but
yeah, Bayless still played 35 minutes. Yeah, so it was so. I know a lot of people had MCW yesterday against in a really good matchup, high tempo matchup against Houston. But anyway, in terms of owning Bayless, I mean, look, if you told me MCW is going to be out for an extended period of time, he's a guy that I might consider picking up. But if MCW is going to be back and that was only a short-lived injury, which I think it is, he's not really a guy that I'm going to be too intrigued about right now.
Interesting. I might disagree with you slightly there, just because he's averaged 28 minutes per game over the course of this season, which is, I think, a higher amount than you would have guessed, just off the top of your head. He's averaged 11 points, 2 3-pointers. He's getting you 3 rebounds and 3.5 assists. And there's the potential there for him to play more minutes if Jason Kidd isn't happy with Michael Carter-Williams, or if this injury continues. So he's certainly a good stream option as is, and with the potential of becoming a valuable fantasy option if Carter-Williams has any sort of injury, or if they decide to reduce Carter-Williams' minutes. But they play him simultaneously. So I think Bayless is a pretty interesting guy at this point and could become very interesting if anything else changes.
I mean, if you pick him up, what's the main reason you're picking him up for? Threes?
I think threes is his best stat this year. I think, particularly if he gets a few more minutes, I think he could get 4.5 assists on the season. He's been right around 3.5. So, that certainly helps if you get a guy that's shooting threes and getting you assists. And he does just fine, with the steals category as well. So he starts to put together a couple of categories for you. That can be pretty helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, you can do a lot worse. I mean, he has been productive at times this year. The interesting thing about the Bucks,
I would if you picked up, say you picked up Donald Sloan when Joe Johnson was dropped or cut, or you picked up Shelvin Mack, or you're just looking for kind of a point guard guy to fill in. I think I would rather own Bayless than those guys.
I think I'd still want Sloan.
Oof.
Out of those three. I mean, that's like picking that's not really great. I couldn't think of a good analogy, but what's an analogy? Picking 3 of something and all 3 are really crappy.
I'm not sure.
I was going to say on politics, but then I figured I better get off politics. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I can make arguments for Mac, Bayless, or Donald Sloan. I mean, all 3 are fine. None of them are going to get me super excited, make me take off my shirt.
Is that your barometer?
Yes.
And let me give you a couple of performances that may have made you take off your shirt, Daniel.
Real quickly, though, let me say this about Milwaukee, because I did watch this game yesterday. The interesting thing about Milwaukee, they were running a ton of their offense through Giannis, which I really haven't seen them do much this year. I think he had a triple-double, had like 11 assists. So I heard
somebody describe the Milwaukee box score as like something out of fan fiction. Like this, if some fan was making up what the box score would look like, this is exactly what it would look like. Chris Middleton had 30 points with 4 assists, 5 steals. Giannis had 18 points, 17 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. Jabari Parker had 36 points, 4 rebounds, only 5 assists, but 2 steals and a 3-pointer. So, I mean, those guys totally dominated.
Yeah, but you missed the best part about Middleton. He had 30 points on 10 shots. Like if you had told me that.
And 1 3-pointer.
Yeah, I mean,
he only made 1 3-pointer.
I mean, I guess playing against James Harden inspired him to be like James Harden and get 15 free throws. I mean, how bad is Houston? I mean, dear God. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, big night from all of their young players.
Yep.
Great game. All right, let's move on to the next box score to kind of check out Memphis and Denver. In Memphis, PJ Hairston continues to play big minutes for Memphis. He scored 14 points, had 4 rebounds, a steal, and a block, and 2 3-pointers. This is the 5th straight game he started. He's played – no, the funny thing is he hasn't played big minutes in every game. The first time he started, he played 16 minutes, then 22, then 30, then 23, then 31. So his minutes aren't consistent, although his starting role seems to be consistent. In the games that he's played more, kind of a expanded minutes, he's scored in double figures in each game and hit multiple 3-pointers in each game. So what's your take on Harrison? Do you think he's a guy that people should be interested in paying attention to, or no?
I wonder if yesterday was his career high. In
It
minutes.
was not. Minutes.
Yeah, not points.
It is his season high. No, that's not true. In January 6th, he played 35 minutes in Phoenix.
Wow, look at that.
And on January 23rd, he had a double-double 2010 game against the Knicks where he played 34 minutes.
I mean, the problem with him is I don't know what area he's going to really help you in. Like, he's not dependable in any category.
He seems like he's going to be a 3-point shooter, at least.
If I had to choose one, I guess it would be 3-pointers. I mean, he's taking, he took 6
score.
Yeah, so I mean, but I don't trust him to get enough shots, and the minutes are still.
In a weird way, he's kind of like a poor man's Mirza Teletovic, which, if you looked at them, like there would be no semblance, but from a fantasy perspective, they're putting up similar types of stats.
Yeah, so I mean, look. Then if you just need threes, I guess he's okay. I'm just perplexed by what the hell.
That's the least confident endorsement you've ever given him.
I've watched him play too many times.
I guess if you're looking for threes, he's sort of okay.
I still don't understand why he's getting more minutes than Chalmers. I mean,
that's really what doesn't make sense.
You can play Chalmers and Conley together. Conley only got 28 minutes yesterday, and Chalmers got 23. Like, I don't know what Jagerbaum is doing. Like, PJ Harrison, does he like him defensively, Jagerbaum?
I doubt it.
But so, look. You're all the players you're giving me like solid players. I mean, in terms of like players you should be, we should be talking about these guys. But the problem is, it's just hard to get overly excited about them. Now, remember, we are at a point in the season where you need guys that are going to give you production. So if you need someone for threes and he's on your waiver wire, he's probably available.
Yeah,
I'll say that. So yeah, I mean, as long as he's going to get, in the last 4 games he's been over. His lowest has been 22 minutes. His high has been 31 minutes. So if you're getting that many minutes, he can help you out a little bit. But no, I've seen him play too many times where I'm not taking my shirt off over PJ Harrison.
I'm excited to see what you name this episode of the podcast.
Oh, I was going to go for something Super Tuesday related, but yeah,
I think something about taking your shirt off for people.
Let me tell you something. The problem with naming the shows now, sometimes I'll spend I can't post the podcast because you need to come up with a name before you hit submit or whatever when you're posting.
Right.
And sometimes it will take me like an hour and a half. I'll have to cool off, take a shower, and think about what I want the name of the podcast to be. It's a lot of pressure, man.
That's a lot of dedication from you.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
All right, let's talk about the Denver side of this box score because it's interesting to me, also disappointing to me. With Danilo Gallinari out with an injury, he's projected to be out at least a month. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play again this season, but that remains to be seen.
He tore 17, ligaments, and they're like, yeah, he's out a month.
Which, by the way, is 4 games before the end of the season.
And he's got to be out. He's got to be out the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, it just sounds better to say he's out a month than to say he's out. I would be surprised if he plays again.
And he's already very severely injury prone. He's got back issues and knee issues and leg issues and arthritis issues and all kinds.
He's got a fancy haircut though.
He does.
You can't take that away from him.
No, you can't. I still hate the guy, man. When he was in New York, he would go to all the nightclubs. So he was out partying every night.
Did you ever come across him?
No, I never did. But some of the bouncers would tell me some of my favorite spots. Some nights I would go and they'd be like, yeah, there's a huge part blocked off tonight because Gallinari and his his mob of 48 other Italians are in town. So I grew to resent him. Like he commonly would be out on game nights. So if they're playing on a Wednesday, he'd be out like till like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning on Tuesday, which I wonder is like how common is that? Like, I guess you can sleep, and I didn't realize this. So I guess coaches like started the shoot around just for that reason. So players were forced to get up, at somewhat of a normal hour, so they couldn't go out till like 4, 5, 6 in the morning at night. Do you know that?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I was started.
The trend seems to be going the other way, where they're not doing shoot around a lot, so that players can sleep and rest enough.
Yeah.
So kind of an interesting.
I forgot the coach who first started that. It was someone in like the 80s.
It sounds like a Pat Riley thing to do, but
it does sound like a Riley thing to do. Well, Riley was probably out partying with him in the 80s.
So here's how the front court minutes got distributed with Gallinari out. Yusuf Nurkic got 0 minutes. Joffrey Lavernier got 19 minutes. Nikola Jokic got 19 minutes. Kenneth Faried got 28 minutes. Darrell Arthur got 28 minutes. And I think that is it. So they're five big guys. Nobody played over 30 minutes. Nurkic played 0 minutes. What do we make of this mess of a situation in Denver? Who can we rely on there?
NBA Hall of Famer Bill Sharman invented the morning shoot-around as a way to burn off nervous energy on game days. He took the shoot-around with him to his first coaching jobs in the ABL, ABA, and later the NBA. After he coached the Lakers to the league championship in 1972, every other team in the league added the shoot-around to its game day regimen. There you go. So much earlier than I thought, 72. All right, so getting back to your Denver dilemma.
Yes. Who can I rely on there? Any of the big guys?
No one. None of them. I mean, like the sad truth is none of them. I wish I could say Jokic, but we've seen like sometimes
he did only play 19 minutes. He was pretty efficient in those 19 minutes.
Yeah.
We weren't thrilled with his production, but you can live with it. He got 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. It could have been a lot worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I guess I still think Jokic and Faried should be owned. But the problem is, like just Mike Malone.
And Faried had a nice game. It was just limited minutes as well.
Well, I mean, Faried never hits 30 minutes. I mean, Mike Malone will just never play that guy 30 minutes no matter what he does. And we've seen like 17 coaches do this now, too. No one wants to play Faried a lot of minutes. And I don't really understand why. I mean, I know defensively, look at that advanced stats. He's not that great. But I still think Faried should probably be owned. Jokic, a lot of times he doesn't play a lot of minutes because he gets into stupid, he commits stupid fouls and gets into foul trouble. But
that wasn't the issue on Monday night.
It wasn't. So I did hear at one of the Denver papers they want to play Lavernier more minutes now. So he could play 19 minutes yesterday as well. But Jokic and Faried are the two guys I would trust. Sampson and Arthur, I don't trust either of those two. Even though Sampson got the start, if I had to choose one, I'd go Arthur. If you just look at the past history, Arthur's numbers per 36 minute basis are just a lot better. And he can
played well last week or so.
Yeah,
they're not numbers that are going to blow you away, but he just kind of helps you in a bunch of different categories a little bit. Like on Monday night, he had 9 points, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's not a lot, but he had a 3-pointer, he had a steal, he had 3 assists. He had 4 rebounds. He just chips in a little bit here and there, and by the end of the night, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I still think this is gonna prove to be true. With Gallo out, they need scoring. They need someone to take up all those shots. I thought it was going to be Will Barton. I think it's still going to be Will Barton. He played 34 minutes last game. Only took 9 shots. So only had 9 points.
Gary Harris led them in field goal attempts, which was nice to see.
Yeah, so he played 34 minutes, 15 points, but only took 13 shots. So they still need someone to take shots. If you look at at the box score, I mean, very consistent in terms of everyone got this, between 5, 6, and 10 shots. I mean, it was very evenly distributed for the most part. So I do expect Barton's shot and usage rate to go up in the near future a lot.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. I don't know if we need to necessarily talk about this at length, but in Brooklyn, Bojan Bogdanovic had another nice game, 36 minutes. He had 19 points, 2 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, and an assist. I know that you have not been a fan of Mr. Bogdanovich's work in the past. Is his recent performances started to sway you at all?
Well, I mean, the thing is that look who we talked about on the show, right? We talked about PJ Harrison not taking my shirt off. We talked about Jared Bayless. Talked about Donatis. How do you pronounce his last name? Motiadauyakadudis?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think if you looked up the pronunciation guide, that's what it would say.
We talked about him. Talked about Jeremiah Grant. Bogdanovich is right in that conversation, and I like Bogdanovich, more than a lot of those other names. So one of the reasons why is Bogdanovich is getting over 35 plus minutes a night lately. So if he's going to get that many minutes, we know he's going to take a lot of threes. If you need 3-pointers, we already talked about who do we say is a poor man's Tledovich? PJ Harrison?
Yeah.
Well, Bogdanovich is he's very similar to Tledovich as well. He's like in the middle between Tledovich and Hairston, in terms of being a poor man's. I think if Bogdan and PJ Hairston got in a fight, a battle for the ages, who could be the poor man's Tledovich? I would take Bogdan. So
I agree.
I think he's definitely a viable candidate this late in the season. You need someone who's going to get you 3-pointers. He's getting anyone who's giving me 35 dang minutes a night. Yeah, man, I'll take a flyer on that. And he's streaky. So right now his shots falling for the most part. Yeah, he can really help your team right now.
I'm very impressed with how excited you got about Bojan Bogdanović. Kudos to you.
Well, yeah.
Let me give you a performance worth taking your shirt off over.
Oh, please do. It's hot.
You ready? In Tuesday's night's performance against the Chicago Bulls, Joe Johnson played 32 minutes, had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 3-pointers, and a block. I can't imagine that he's blocked a lot of shots this year, but he had a block. Is this what we should expect from Joe Johnson?
No. So this was the primary game I was watching tonight because it was my Heat taking on the Bulls. Wow, are the Bulls bad and defensive.
You want to know how many blocks he has this season? I want you to guess how many blocks he has this season.
7.
Less.
Really?
Yeah, including tonight's game.
4?
Less.
Come on.
Tonight was his 3rd block of the season.
Dude, that's surprising. Like the one thing I'll say about Joe Johnson, or I'll probably say more than one thing, but so they Miami played the Knicks, I think it was Sunday, and they played Chicago tonight. Joe he's a pretty good defender. So was he just like not trying in Brooklyn for like large stretches the last few years?
He doesn't get a lot of defensive stats.
I mean, but the thing is, he guarded Carmelo really well. He contested a lot of his shots.
It's been as far back as I can look, which is 5 years right now. He hasn't averaged a combined. So if you combine his steals and blocks per game, he hasn't had a season where he's averaged more than one of those, one combined block and steal per game. So he's always been like last year, he was 0.7 and 0.2. The year before he was 0.6 and 0.1. Year before he was 0.7 and 0.2. That's really pretty poor defensive stats from a guard. Now that doesn't mean he's not a good defender or he is a good defender. It just means he doesn't get the fantasy stats in the defensive category.
No, I know, but I just you would think just like you just stick your hand up, you're gonna get a couple of fluke blocks here and there. Like once a week you'd get a block or something.
Yeah, not the case.
That's pretty shocking. I mean, in terms of his production though, he shot 10 of 13 from the floor. I mean, it was almost all layups that he got against Chicago tonight. So I expect that shooting percentage to come down, and he's not going to get 24 points a night. But look, we talked about this last show. He's going to be a solid contributor for the Miami. He's going to put up similar production to what he did in Brooklyn, which is around 12 to 14 points a night, 3 to 4 assists, and 3 to 4 rebounds. So I think he's a guy you can consider owning. You could do worse. But tonight he looked. I mean, their whole team looked really good, but it was just Chicago's defense was so bad.
Yeah. The last guy I want to bring up is from the Portland Trailblazers.
Dude, Mark, Miami shot 52 of 77 from the floor.
That's pretty good.
I mean, wow. All right, anyway, sorry.
This is not Tom Thibodeau's Chicago Bulls.
Thibodeau's rolling over in his grave. Oh, we probably should
He's
mention.
probably at home cheering.
You think so?
I don't think it ended well in Chicago with Tibbs.
But I know, but you still wonder if you still roots for the players, you know?
Yeah, there's not.
Hates management.
I mean, who's left of his guys?
That's
Powell
true.
isn't one of his guys.
That's
Bobby
true.
Portis isn't one of his guys.
Taj and Rose, I guess, were the only ones.
And I was never sure about Rose, but yeah, a lot of his guys are gone or hurt.
That's true.
Butler's hurt.
Or dead.
No one's gone or dead.
Yeah, you're actually right. And his main guy was Dang, and Dang was on Miami. So actually Thibodeau was super doubly happy tonight.
Yeah. So the guy that I want to talk about from Portland Trailblazers is Myers Leonard. Myers Leonard had 14 rebounds, 11 points, 3 3-pointers, an assist, and a block. That is his second pretty impressive performance in a row. On February 28th against the Pacers, he had 17 points, 4 3-pointers, 2 rebounds. Is Myers Leonard somebody you need to start worrying about in your fantasy league again?
So he was a guy that I was really excited for at the start of this year. I drafted him in a lot of leagues. He started off the year pretty well, got hurt, and then he just, for whatever reason, stats never put him back in the starting lineup, and didn't really let him get consistent minutes ever since. And then he had some weird quotes in Portland saying, "I'm only going to play him on like a per matchup basis against other bigs." I think Leonard has like a unique skill set, so he can do a lot of stuff on the court. He's not just a big goofy white dude who just stands under the hoop like a Robin Lopez, even though Lopez has been really productive. So if he's going to be getting minutes, he would be a guy that would be on my radar. I mean, again, he can give you points and not only in rebounds, he can do other stuff too, and give you like blocks and some assists even occasionally as well. So he is a guy who, if he would get minutes, man, I would definitely be interested in grabbing him. I just don't know if Stotts doesn't seem committed to giving him consistent minutes. That's my biggest problem with him.
So what would it take for you to be convinced one way or the other that you should pick him up? Like, what are you looking for that would make you feel confident that you could rely on him during the playoffs?
Well, so look at the last 5 games: 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 21, 10, and 12. And before that, 6 and 4.
Right.
I mean, that's
so you could. Yeah, that doesn't look promising. But you could make the case that he's basically increasing in minutes every single night.
Well, you could, or you can make the case that it's for matchup reasons. For whatever reasons, he gave him over 20 minutes the last few nights. Now,
it could be like he's matching up with Miles Turner and Porzingis.
Right. So I'm not privy to that information because, God forbid, the coach would be that forthcoming with the media or with just.
Maybe you should ask PJ Tucker to get his thoughts on the rotation.
Maybe, but so I would need. So right now he's gotten 3 games in a row with 20 plus minutes. If he could give me like just 2 or 3 games in a row with 25 plus minutes, then that's when I'd probably start getting serious. But look, if I need to stream a guy on like a Sunday night,
Yeah, why don't we talk about that for just a second? Which stats would you be looking for if you in a stream situation? Probably needed rebounds and 3-pointers.
Well, that's one reason why he becomes an interesting guy to stream. Like let's say you're not only battling for one category, you're still in play for a couple different ones. He can help you out in points a little bit. He can help you out in rebounds and maybe blocks.
He's not going to get He's probably not going to get many defensive stats for you.
All right, probably not, but you never know. I mean, like Joe Johnson, maybe his time is coming for blocks. But he could get you some threes, and could get.
I think you're right. I think it's points, 3-pointers, and rebounds are really what you're hoping for out of if you pick up Leonard.
The main thing you're hoping for is minutes. God forbid Stotts just benched him that night, then you want to kill everybody.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. To finish off the show tonight, I want to talk about help our listeners out with some no halftime challenges. So, but before we do that, there's one challenge I think makes sense for you and I to participate in. You ready for this?
Yes.
What if I take Gerald Bayless and you take Bojan Bogdanovic?
Huh. Yeah, I do that.
All right, there it is. And listeners, it's that easy to play no halftime. You can work with your friends, or you can post public challenges, but basically you pick a player, your opponent picks a player, and you can put different amounts of money on it, or you can play a free challenge. And based on how that player plays in their next game, one of you will win, one of you will lose. And if you're playing for bragging rights or playing for money, it can be a lot of fun. So go check out No Halftime. Daniel, from the list of players that we talked about, is there anybody you would recommend our listener you think are undervalued in DFS and No Halftime challenges that you think our listeners might be able to take advantage of?
Well, I don't know if you glossed over
like Markieff Morris.
I don't know if you glossed over this or not, or maybe I was too busy Googling what the NBA shoot around or when that got founded.
That
but
might have been the case.
Did we mention how great Jabari Parker has been?
Yeah, I talked about that for like a full 2 minutes.
Oh, did you?
And you agreed with it, me.
I think we talked about the whole Bucks team just destroying Houston.
Yeah.
Like Jabari Parker is definitely a guy to be pouncing on right now. I know Mark hates guys get 40 minutes, but Jason Kidd said he wants to give Jabari about 40 minutes a night for to the end of the season, and he's going to get all the minutes he can handle. I really like Jabari Parker in DFS form. DFS formats, he's starting to get really expensive, so maybe not DFS.
So who in No Halftime do you think you could pit him against?
Well, it's interesting.
Let's figure. Like, what about Kenneth Fareed?
Well, the guy you could do Kenneth Fareed. You could also do a guy like Joe Johnson. Maybe someone still gets sucked into the name of Joe Johnson.
I don't know. I'm a little nervous about Joe Johnson. I feel like.
Come on. Really? Because Joe Johnson will get you like 5 blocks next game. Well, what stat makes you nervous?
Points.
Yeah, but think about it.
I think he could outscore Parker.
Well, this is the thing. So that would be the only category he would do better than Parker in. Parker's
no. I mean, I think he's going to get more assists.
Parker, no, that's Parker's specialty these days.
He's going to get more assists than Parker. Parker's not the like.
All right, you know what? Me and you, let's do a No Halftime. I'll take Parker. You can have Joe Johnson if you're so confident.
No, and here's the other thing I was going to say about Joe Johnson is I actually don't think people would take you up on that challenge because I think Joe Johnson's almost a candidate the other way where you could surprise some people with Joe Johnson because people are like, he sucks in Brooklyn.
Never doubt name recognition.
Yeah, but I feel like the name recognition is negative. Like people would just think like he got cut. Now he plays as a backup role probably in Miami.
No, and I fixed that because I got No Halftime. They change. You know how normally just says like the player of the it says Joe Johnson, it says Dwayne Wade, LeBron says the name of the player. Yeah. I got No Halftime to say Big Game Joe.
Well, perfect.
So it says Big Game Joe, and oh yeah, I'm taking that. If it says Big Game Joe, how are you gonna pass that up?
Here's some players that you tell me whether this would be a good idea to play Parker against.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan?
No.
You wouldn't take that. Okay.
No, not as long as Blake's still out, no.
He hasn't played like extremely well.
Been great, but that one's, I mean, just because DeAndre Jordan's gonna give you like 20 rebounds on most nights, that's
Brooke Lopez? That's
close, but no.
You don't want to go for close though.
Right, exactly.
Thaddeus Young?
Thaddeus Young is interesting. I that's still close. I do like Parker in that matchup, but that's still close.
I already said Fareed. What about Fareed?
I do like. I would jump all over Fareed.
So you do Fareed? Yeah, he kind of feels like he has a low ceiling.
Yeah, and hope it's a night Fareed gets 12 minutes, which happens all the time, or even if Fareed gets his 28 minutes.
What about Mike Conley? Mike Conley struggled recently.
No, I still don't like that's close because Memphis still they do even though he's been up and down, they still need Conley right now. As with Gasol out, they're relying on him to do a lot with that team, even though he's been up and down.
Sounds like Fareed is our recommendation.
Yeah, definitely. I like Fareed. I'm telling you, you can still do that. Joe Johnson. Another one I do like Mark.
If you could get Joe Johnson, I like that matchup as well.
And Mark, you did say Markieff. I think Markieff's a guy that you could use, and hopefully people go Markieff versus Ty Lawson. Go Markieff versus
Ty Lawson isn't playing in the NBA right now.
Some people don't know that. You could go Markieff versus a lot of people coming off the bench.
And just a reminder to everybody who's listening, as the fantasy season-long leagues wind down, if you get eliminated or your season ends and you want to stay involved in fantasy, I think no halftime's a great way to do it. Single best way to pick one player that you want to target either for or against and play fantasy that night. It's pretty simple. So go check it out. And again, if you use the promo code BBALL, you can have a free $10 at sign up. Or you can, like we said, try free challenges.
Yeah, man.
I think that's it for us tonight, Daniel. Any parting words before we sign off?
Well, I'm just happy that we ended the show at a reasonable time. Now I can go and watch the second half of Brooklyn versus the Lakers.
What a reward. Yeah,
the Lakers are up 9. The Lakers, I don't know when was the last time they won a game. Like they say Brooklyn has 17 wins. The Lakers only have 11 wins.
Oh my goodness.
But the Lakers are up 9 with a minute to go in the second quarter. Very exciting. So looking forward to that. So I hope everyone had a great Super Tuesday. And
I hope your Tuesday was super.
The audience or me?
I was talking to you, but I hope our audience's Tuesday was super as well.
You're so kind.
Yeah. And as far as shows the rest of the week, we will have a show on Friday. I will be absent, but Daniel and Tyler will be taking the reins and hopefully leading you to victory in this all-important week before the playoffs.
Friday, we have some crazy things in store for Friday's show because if Mark can't be on a show, we know we have to spice it up to make listeners tune in. So
it's going to be spicy.
Ready. Tyler's going to bring his super. He told me he's going to bring his super A game on Friday.
All right. So tune in for that.
Yeah.
Until then, hopefully you can enjoy watching some basketball. Good luck in your pre-playoff matchup.
There, guys.
Bye.